Good afternoon. I got it right this time. Boys and girls, and mommies and daddies, and grandmommies and grandpoppies. If you looked at the title, you will see today's story is about sardines. This grandmommy doesn't really not like sardines at all. I prefer escargot and calamari. That's about as exotic as I want to get. I was over to Mrs. Farmer Brown's house this morning, and her phone rang, and it was Mrs. Piggy, the three little piggies' mama, and bless her heart, she was laughing so hard. She had tried to open a can of sardines, and the can opener didn't work, and they did not have a lid that you pull the tab up and then you pull carefully back. It was the old-fashioned kind of can that you had to clickety all the way around it with a can opener, and I guess the can opener must have broken or something. She was laughing so hard, so we got to laughing, and oh my goodness gracious. So you've heard of the expression, packed like sardines in a can, like maybe a Subway or something, and people are in it and they're crowded together. Well, she said that she thought about that, packed like sardines in a can, when she took a fork and kind of raised up part of the lid that she could raise up and pulled out, and it came out in, of course, bits and pieces, and so we asked her if she liked sardines. Why was she doing this? And she said, well, believe it or not, Piggly, Wiggly, and Squiggly loved sardines. Can you imagine that now? Come on. The three little pigs like sardines. So we asked her, well, do you, Mommy Pig? And she goes, no, yuck. I don't like sardines. She says, I'm kind of fond of what Grandmommy likes is the escargot and the calamari. She says, I like those two things, and shrimp cocktails. And she said, yeah, but she says, not so much on the sardines. Well, we just laughed and laughed and laughed. And so we asked her what she was going to do with the rest of the can. I mean, because there was still some in there. And she says, I'm throwing it away. She says, it's stinking up my kitchen. Well, we laughed all over again with that one. I tell you, she's so funny. She's so funny. So I left, and in the meantime, Mommy Pig, I'm sure, was cleaning up the kitchen, and she said she was going to make the kids a sardine pie. I just don't know about that. Just can't quite get that. But she had a recipe, and they love sardines, so she was going to make them a sardine pie. That almost sounds kind of funny. I did see her going to town to pick the boys up. I passed her in the car as she was going, and she just waved, so I wonder if she still smelled like sardines or if the kitchen still smelled like sardines. I want to go back. I think some of you folks that are watching are a little bit new. I know one person is, and that is, I can't think of her name. Oh my gosh. Anyway, to you that are new, if anybody is new, this story it takes place before the three little pigs built their houses of what? Sticks and bricks and hay. Remember? Hay and sticks and bricks. And it was when they got big and grown up, and they left home and they built those houses. Well, Mommy Pig didn't really think they were going to last, and of course, they didn't know that the big bad wolf was coming to town to visit everything, and so that's when he spied the houses, and when he spied those little fat pigs, he wanted to just, and puff and blow their house down, which he did. Well, this is a story of how they grew up. Now, Little Bad Wolf was their bestest friend, as you know. And Little Bad Wolf, it was his father that was the mean one. He was mean. And he's the one that came back and blew their house down. Well, Little Bad Wolf at that time, he's been already adopted by Mr. and Mrs. Farmer Brown, because you remember he lived in this round thingy jiggy thing that was made out of sticks and stones and leaves and branches and just, remember that sticky little, yeah. So when his daddy came to town and tried to blow his house down, he had an escape hole just for that idea, and he ran over to Mr. Farmer Brown's house. Well, that very next day, Mr. Farmer Brown got all the fathers in the forest and said, please bring hammers and nails and wood and tin and any windows, any doors, anything that you have. He says, we're going to build a house. And he didn't tell them who it was until they got there. So since then, Mr. and Mrs. Farmer Brown has adopted Little Bad Wolf. Well, I know in fairy tales, when the big bad wolf came and blew their houses down, there was no mention of Little Bad Wolf, was there? But I know that Little Bad Wolf was in college. The three little pigs didn't particularly want to go to college. They preferred to go to business school and a vocational school. And so that's what Mommy Pig let them do, was to go where they wanted to, because she knew that if they went where they wanted to go, they would do better and they would pay more attention than what she had picked out for them. So when Little Bad Wolf found out about his daddy blowing his bestest friend's house down, he was so upset. He was so very mad. Now, boys and girls, don't get mad at things, because it's not a good thing to do, is to be mad at your brother or your sister or your neighbor. You should say, how come you're mad at me? What did I do? And, you should talk about it. But Big Bad Wolf, he wasn't that way. He didn't want to talk about things, and he wanted to be mean all the time. He wanted to be mean to everybody, and you just can't do that, right? Well, anyway, to finish up that chapter, I guess you'd call it, I remember I've told you that Mr. Farmer Brown was working on a secret project. And the birdhouses that we built the other day, they were a secret, but, they weren't a big secret. But this, boys and girls, mommies and daddies, grandmommies and grandpappies, is a big deal, okay? It'll probably take grandmommy at least 3 days to tell the story. That's how big it is. And I think that Mr. Farmer Brown is going to announce it. I'm not sure if he's going to announce it Valentine's Day or Easter. It might be Easter. And did you know, mommies and daddies and grandmommies and grandpappies, that Easter is early this year? I think it's the 4th or 5th of April. It's on a Sunday, of course. 4th or 5th of April, and that's considered early. So, probably that's when he's going to announce it, because he can announce it in church that way and have more fun. So we'll have to tune in and see what is that he's going to announce. I don't even know what he's going to announce. Mrs. Farmer Brown won't tell me. She knows, because he and her talked it over. But it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be fun, okay? I think this is kind of a rehash of different things that I've been thinking about, that I thought maybe I should make sure that everybody knows, what's going on in the woods, because I don't want to say something and you not know what I'm talking about, okay? So Mrs. Piggy picked up the boys, and she said, well, boys, She said, I was going to make you a surprise today. Oh, what did you make? What did you make? Piggly says, and Wiggly says, oh, I know it's something good to eat. I can't wait to get home. And Squiggly says, Mama, 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 what did you make us? And Mommy Piggy, she hung her head and she said, I didn't make you boys anything. I was going to. Mama? Piggly said, Mama, Mama, you are crying. What happened? And she said, well, I know how you guys like sardines, and you know I don't like sardines. And Squiggly says, I know, Mommy, you just say they stink, that they stink up the kitchen. He said, they do a little bit, don't they? And she said, yeah, they do. So she says, you'll probably smell the sardines when you get in the house. And so Wiggly says, well, what did you make us then? And she said, well, she said, I would have a recipe. She said, Mrs. Farmer Brown made fun of me when I told her the name of the recipe, but it's called sardine pie. And even the boys were, like surprised. Oh, it's going to taste so good. And Mommy Piggy says, well, it would taste so good if I didn't throw them all away. And they looked at her and they said, what did you do? You threw it away? And she smiled and she said, yes. She said, I'm going to have to get a new can opener because I don't know what happened, but it wouldn't open the can. And I tried to get them out and nothing came out but just bunches of little pieces of, she says, she says, it was terrible. She says, there was tomato sauce all over my drain board, all over my counter. And she said, the can opener was all yucky, yucky, yucky. She says, yeah. And she was still crying. And so Piggly and Wiggly and Squiggly, they all sat up on her lap. She's in the car. Now, she hadn't started the car yet. She's still at school. They all jumped over the seat and sat in her lap, and they said, oh, Mommy, we're so sorry. We love you, and thank you for trying to do that for us. We understand. It's kind of hard to make something if you, the cook, doesn't like it. It's kind of hard to make that dish. So she says, well, she said, I tell you what we'll do. She says, to make up for me not making that sardine pie for you, she said, we'll go home. You do your homework. Do you have any homework? And she looked at all three of them. And all three of them, because they're in the same class, said, yeah, we got some homework. And she says, okay. She says, you get through with your homework, and you take a shower, and you put your good Sunday clothes on, and we'll go out to a real special place tonight for supper. But, Mommy, that costs money. And she says, I know, but she said, I made a dress for a lady in town, and she paid me today. And she said, she gave me more money than what I had asked her for. I was only going to charge her $50 for making the dress for her. She gave me $100. Oh, my goodness. Mommy, you must sew real good. Well, we know you sew real good, but wow, Mommy, that was wonderful. And she said, yes. And she said, so I put $50 in the bank. And she said, supper's not going to cost us $50, but she says, that's what we're going to use to go for supper. And you know where she took them? To a place called Shrimp Boat. Oh, it is so good. It is so good. And when they got there, she could order her escargot. The boys wanted to try the calamari, so she ordered a dish of calamari and a little order of escargot. And you only get about like 6 of them, but they're good. And then they ordered, what was it they ordered? They ordered calamari. So they had a little bit of 3 different dishes. And then, what did they order? Oh, my heavens above. They ordered salmon and shrimp. with a baked potato for everybody and asparagus. Oh my goodness gracious. Those little piggies were just so fat. Their tummies was just sticking out because they were so fat. They ate so much that night. And boys and girls, I think, and mommies and daddies, grandmommies and grandpoppies, I think that will be all for this afternoon. Now, what do? I don't hear you. You share, you like, and you comment. Okay? And if anybody doesn't know some of the history, please ask me if you have a question about how come they went there or said that. I can probably reference it with one of the stories that we've had already. Okay? So feel free to ask any kind of questions that you would like to have answered. I know that Vicki the other day wanted to see a picture of them. And as soon as I get their school pictures to my daughter, she's going to draw them off. And you're going to say, well, why can't I show you the real pictures? Well, I promised Mommy Pig that I wouldn't show the real pictures, but we would show a picture that was just the same as the picture. But she doesn't want their real pictures on what she calls this TV. It's really a video, but she calls it a TV. So she doesn't want her boys' pictures on TV yet. She says they're too young so far. So that's why we have to draw them. So I think my daughter will probably switch shirts so that you don't know who they are. Because you remember, Pigly's always in a yellow shirt. Wiggly's always in a red shirt. Blue shirt? I have to look it up. GrandMommy gets mixed up. And then Squiggly is in the opposite color, either red or blue. Sometimes he wears green. These little boys are confusing me the older they get, or the older I get. I don't know which one it is. Okay. Share, comment, and like. And we will see you Monday. All right. Bye-bye.